February 11th.
My name is. Oh yeah.
Whoa. I gotta restart now. You threw me off. Hold on. Alright. So, February 11th, 2009. I got a phone call from my best friend. And usually when I get a phone call, I just answer like, what's up? You know, just chilling. But this conversation was way different than I ever imagined. Right when I answered, I was like, what's up? How you doing? And she was just silent. And I was like, hello? And then the only word that she said was Reggie. And this guy Reggie was the guy that every guy wanted to be and every girl wanted to be with, because he was just that guy. And what I said was like, what happened to Reggie? Like, come on now, like, he's always fine. And then she just said, he's gone. And like with those words, like it just like hit so hard, and I was so gone for a long time. And basically, this is Reggie, football player, basketball player. He died the year after he graduated. He actually overdosed on Oxycontin. So I'm here to tell you about like my city, Simi Valley, California, and the drug problem that is going on through it. Whew. Okay, sorry. I get through. So the amount of people since I was a junior in high school that I've lost to drugs, I can count, or I can't even count on my fingers. So my name is Kyra, and my speech is Nightmare in Suburbia. After you hear my speech, you'll learn about the drug problem in my city, what's being done to stop it, and how this affects like everyone else in this class. Alright, so I'm from Simi Valley, California. It's in Southern California. It's one of the for the longest time, it was one of the safest cities in America. But throughout high school, there was always like a little bit of a drug problem. Like everyone always did weed. We did like, I didn't, but like we did like, they did like Xanax. They did ecstasy. Ecstasy was a really big one. Oxycontin, obviously, because that's what my friend Reggie died to. They just did all kinds of stuff. And then also, if you went to the bigger neighborhood down like 20 minutes away, it was cocaine was what they did most in Westlake. Like before class, 7 a.m., kids just snorting cocaine. But from the naked eye, if you didn't know anything about this area in Ventura County is like an area where people just think, oh, it's just those rich white kids, what are they doing wrong, blah, blah, blah. Like no one ever thinks you have a problem. But a couple years after high school, like I just started to see like this progressive trend about how like the drugs keep getting harder and harder and harder. And today, that drug is heroin that everyone's using. Michael Cook, he's the dad of this kid I know from high school who actually got out of his drug problem, and he's like sober now. He's in the Marines. He's doing well. He said in a newspaper article, he said heroin is a lot cheaper and easier to get. That is why heroin is so much more popular now among like the kids in my neighborhood and stuff like that. In NBC, they did a special on Simi, and they said in 2011, 14 people died of overdose, and out of those 14 people, like I knew a majority of them. So it's like, and that's just in Simi, like that's not everywhere else around the world. Most recently, his name is Tyler Hodges. He just died February 3rd. He was 19. He's from my area, stuff like that. He got into drugs at a young age. He's been through rehab, he's doing the most, like trying to get out of it, but he just never could. And I was just going through his Facebook the other day, just like looking through all my friends who had passed and stuff like that. And he had, actually one of his friends wrote on his Facebook, and he said that Tyler said, I'm not going to tell you guys I'm going to get clean anymore. I'm going to actually do it, not just to talk about it anymore. I want to show you guys I can. And sadly, like he just couldn't get out of it, and he overdosed. His overdose actually happened in Palmdale, so they don't really count it as a Simi Valley one. So if you just take that into consideration about the number 14 that I just previously told you about, that was just in Simi Valley. There's other people dying everywhere else from my city from there. On February 22nd, this is my friend Chris Buckley. We've been friends since I was like 8 years old. Basketball player, obviously. throughout high school, though, he went through a bad path, and he just got worse after high school. He was actually best friends with Reggie, and when Reggie died, like, all of us, it hit us hard, like, how many more people do we have to lose? We're losing our best friends to this kind of stuff, and he just passed away a couple weeks ago, and that one was rough, too, and his best friend, who was also Reggie's best friend, his name is Justin, he said on his Facebook, he was like, I'm so sorry to everyone back home that I'm not there for, because I just lost 2 of my best friends to drugs. How many more people do we need to lose? And it's like no one ever gets the picture. Like, we're losing so many friends from just my area. The problem is actually, also that means that there's already been 2 people that died of a heroin-related accident, and it's only March in 2013. Jody Johnson, she's the mom of this guy, Andrew Johnson, who went to my high school. He died 2 years ago, I think. And she said, heroin is not just a drug for the rich, the famous, or the junkies in the alley. Heroin has now become the drug of choice for our family and for our kids. And that's actually a really true statement. Like, I'm lucky enough to not have ever gotten into it. I know a lot of my friends who have gotten out of it, and it's just rough. But since last February, my city has actually like started to try and take a stand against this whole entire problem. There's 2 parents, Susan Clemensko and Melissa Sievers, who lost the 2 things they cherished most to drugs, and that was their kids. So they created this company, or this organization, Not One More. It pretty much is like heroin sucks, not one more, like to die or whatever. And since they created that, like, it's bringing our community together, bringing awareness to all our city leaders and stuff like that about the situation. And so it's specifically created for like the fight against heroin. And on their website, they just have like, websites and like, what's it called, rehabilitation places and like places for everyone to go. It just lets everyone in Simi that or around that area who are in this problem that they're not alone. And they have meetings like once or twice a week, or once or twice a month, I mean. And so they're trying to actively combat it. Another thing that has recently happened to combat it is on February 22nd, the same day I found out that my friend passed away, is the same day Dr. Phil aired a special on my city about the heroin problem. He called it Heroin in Suburbia, a Town Intervention. And throughout this episode, he did a story on 2 guys from my city who are having a really hard time coping with what they're going through. And one of them's actually, while he's on drugs, he made a lot of threats, and he's actually a terrorist threat now because of the things he said. And they also did this interview with a bunch of kids from the high school in my area, and he asked them, if I gave you money in an hour, could you come back with heroin? And every single one of the kids said yes. And those are like 15, 16-year-olds. Another thing that they did is they're starting to make like drug raids and drug busts throughout my city, like specialty things, horses, there you go. Amy Powell from ABC said that, last year we actually had a big one. She said that 5 pounds of heroin and $120,000 were found and busted within like a big like heroin gang. And it actually was a gang that produced $6 million a year of business from heroin problems. So they're trying to, I get more time because I messed up at the beginning. Okay. So basically the epidemic affects everyone in this classroom because in Hawaii, actually 8 of 11 rural communities said that drug use is the #1 concern, and drug overdose is now the #3 killer in Hawaii. 2011 had 109 overdoses compared to the 39 10 years prior, 2001. Also, it is a countrywide problem because according to ABC, the adolescent substance abuse is America's #1 health problem now. And USA News says that 90% of American high school students report that their peers use drugs or do drugs. So, in conclusion, what I talked about in Simi is happening all over the world, but Simi is just highlighted because of how safe of a city it once was. Imagine like with how safe my city is, how it is everywhere else, because we were one of the top safest cities in the whole entire world, and now look where we are. So I've lost way too many friends, and my friends have lost way too many friends to this epidemic, and so I'm going to leave you to this. Like, if you take a look to your left and to your right now, like, some of your best friends are in this class, some people you'll know your whole entire life. Like, Kabeda and Shay are best friends. Shireen's one of my closest friends. Imagine 4 years from now, no one else is here because they overdosed. Like, that's what me and my friends have been going through for the past, like, 4 years. And, it's rough. So, I just wanted to shed light on what's going on. And if you know somebody that's having trouble, like, let them know. One of my best friends just told me last week he was starting to do heroin, and I just cried on the phone. I was like, I can't lose anyone else. So if you know anyone, just try and help them because everyone needs help. They're just too scared to get it sometimes.